Hi everybody, it's Debbie here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for deciding to join me today. I think you're going to love this video. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I think you're going to really enjoy this one today. So for the longest time, I have wanted a wooden tiered tray, like a real wood tiered tray that was solid. One of the big, large, rectangle-shaped ones, you know, that you can put a lot of stuff on. And I wanted that all wood look for that farmhouse. Everything farmhouse is being painted now for modern farmhouse, but I kind of really like the old wood look for a lot of farmhouse things. I can remember my grandparents' farmhouse actually had a lot of wood items in there. So I've wanted this wooden tiered tray forever. So I'm going to make one. And without any more explanation, I'm just going to jump right into the video. The supplies that you're going to need to make this project, if you want to do it exactly the same as I am, but you can also substitute some different things. But I am going to use 2 of these wooden canvases, is what they are. They're wooden canvases. And I picked these up at Dollarama. They have an amazing supply of wood craft items in right now. These have a fairly flimsy, almost like a balsa wood, cover on them. The canvas is where they replace the canvas, but I am going to shore this up a little bit, firm it up a little bit, and give it some strength. So I am going to use an 8x10 wooden canvas, a 12x16 wooden canvas. I am going to use a couple of packages of these wooden plant labels. These are the ones that look like picket fence pieces that I got from Dollarama, $1.25 for 10. So I'm going to use a couple packages of those. I am going to use a thrifted rolling pin. Now for this rolling pin, I have already untwisted the handles and taken it apart. I am going to use the roller part of it. I'm going to use one handle, the handle that has the little holes in the top, and I took some of those little wooden rings that I hauled. Anyway, there was a package of 10 of these little wooden rings that came in that haul. I took the hacksaw, I cut a little piece out, and then I just kept using my X-Acto knife until I got it so that it was just a nice fit. And I am going to glue this on here like this. If you want to put legs on it, you can sit it right on your tabletop like this, but I'm going to use these big thrifted wooden beads that I picked up in a thrift haul months and months ago. So, but any wooden bead will do as well. So you're going to need some glue, you're going to need something to cut your sticks, and you'll probably need your hot glue gun as well. So let's get started. I'm going to start with this one. Set that one down there. I'm going to start with this one, and I am going to start by taking my plant stakes. I am going to measure right here so I know where to cut, and then I am just going to use my X-Acto knife to score this just like this, and then break that right in half like that. Then I'm going to use some, for me, well, that's not quite enough. I didn't quite draw my line straight, so yes, that's better. So for this part here, I am going to start here, and I am going to put some of this Weld Bond glue. It's because it's what I have. It's not because it's the best or anything like that. I'm going to take some of this Weld Bond, and I'm just going to put a little row up the center like this. Then I'm going to use a dab of my hot glue, just like that. A little bit there and a little bit there. It's not going to take much. I'm going to slide this right in tight and push it down. And I'm going to go all the way across like that. And then I'm going to do the second tray as well. And that's going to make this bottom nice and sturdy. So that should help a lot. So just measure your steak. Now remember, keep all these pieces. This is still good for all kinds of projects. I wanted to show you, because I've got this all glued across, but I just wanted to show you that when you're putting your last piece in and you have to measure this, you may not have gotten every single one of these perfectly straight. They may be a tiny bit wider at one end than the other. So you don't want to just measure one area here, take a measurement and cut that. So what I did was I took the, let me see. I took the stick, I don't know if you can see this, and I'm putting it in here like this, and I'm going to measure from there onto here with that shoved up against there. I'm gonna put a little line exactly where that is. Then I'm gonna lift it up and I'm gonna put it on this end, and I'm gonna put a line exactly where that is. Then when I cut it, I'm going to take my ruler. I am going to put it on the largest size so that I've got something to hold down. I'm going to put my ruler right on that line, and I'm using one of those metal rulers from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to put it right on that line. It's just exactly as I can get it. I'm going to hold this down, and this works on this bit. It holds it down good because this metal ruler has a cork back on it, so it's easy to hold that down. Hold it down nice and tight, and then start making your slices, but don't push hard. Just be really careful that you don't cut yourself. Go nice and slow. Just make sure that you're keeping it against, if you start to slide off, go back. So after you get the first couple cuts, it'll be easier. But start cutting right against that ruler. And you don't have to try to press hard. You're just gonna go along the edge of the ruler, and you're just going to keep going like that. It'll go down a little bit deeper each time. Try to keep it nice and straight, and just keep going down like that. You might have to make a few extra little cuts at the ends because you tend to not cut as deep at the ends as you do in the middle. For some reason, I don't know why that is. So I'm going to just do that until I get a really, really good score. So now it should be maybe a little more. These are quite thick, these pieces. They're layered. There. So I'm just going to keep doing that until I can make my cut go through. See, I'm going to try again. There, it's starting to bend. So once you can get it to bend a little bit one way, then you should be able to get it to bend a little bit back. And just do that one way and back. And then you can break that off. And that's a nice clean cut. So then you can glue it into the space. So I think it goes in this way. Yeah, I believe it goes in this way, like that. So I'm going to put that in there. That's a nice cut. So I am going to, yeah, I'm going to put it that way. I'm going to put it down so that the cut side is towards the outside edge and not along this line. So I'm going to glue it down with this side down. So put your piece in, turn it over, make sure you've got it fitting in the right spot. And then glue your last piece in. This is the end piece. So I want a lot of glue on there. And then just a little dab of hot glue there and hot glue there. So, I mean, the hot glue probably isn't even necessary, but there. There. I mean, these aren't going to fall out or anything like that, but it does keep them from lifting or making sure. I mean, you got them down good. I know they're good and secure. Now that feels, that even sounds better already. So that's a nice substantial tray now. So you have your 2 trays, and they're going to dry over time. So what I'm going to do is water down some brown paint. What color am I going to do this? I think I'm going to water down some brown paint, and I'm going to paint this so that it looks like a stain. So let's see what I have here. And remember, it's just, I'm just watering it down. So let's put that there and see what happens. So grab my brush and I'm going to paint this on. Like that. And I'm not bothering to cover my, I didn't bother to cover my table up because I gave this old table a coat of paint just to protect it. But I'm actually going to do something with this table, and just wondering here. Yeah. But I'm actually going to do a project and do my tabletop. So that should be coming shortly as well. So I'm putting this all on here like this. I'm just going to, before it completely dries, I'm going to grab one of those wipes. Oh, I can't even get it out of the package. I'm going to grab one of those wipes and I'm going to do this. Oh, that's nice. So look at how nice that's coming. Very, very nice. So yeah, let's get the rest on here. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do both pieces. And I'll come back to you when that's all finished. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do before I let this all sit for a night is put the legs on the bottom of this so that this will dry. I gotta put the lid on my weld bond too. More glue. I got more glue on me. So what I'm going to do is kind of try to find the middle here. Something really long. I might have to get my long ruler. I've got a metal yardstick. It's actually 40 inches from Home Hardware. And Our last house, when we bought our last house, it was hanging in a closet by the front door. So I claimed it. And it's quite a handy thing when you have to measure over a foot. So that's my center. So I am going to glue, because this wasn't a very strong wood in the first place, I am going to glue one of those beads to the very bottom. So 5 of them I needed, right? 3, 4. My goodness, I know I put 5 of them in here. I put 5 of them in there. I know I did. There they are. There they are. I got a basket of what I just plop extra stuff into on my desk. So I call it the junk basket. So I'm going to put these on with E6000. And the reason that I need to have this middle leg is because this is where that pole is going to go up, and I want the extra support under the pole so that the middle of this doesn't start to sag. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to put it on with E6000 because I do not want these little legs falling off. So this may not be a perfectly straight and level tray when I'm done, because these beads don't seem to be, they're a little bit irregular. They don't seem to be perfect, but that's okay. I want them. So I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to put that bead right in the middle of it. So with E6000, I'm actually hoping that this bond is 100%. Well, I should be out near the outside edge a little bit better. That's better. That's a little bit better. Try to get them the same distance in on all the 4 corners. And then that one's slid a little bit again. I guess this is the only way to do it. There. I think that's good. So now I have other things to do today, and I'll come back to this tomorrow. But I did want to note one thing. After I stained these, I made sure the bottom of the top tray was stained, because this is going to be up here, and when you're sitting at table height, or if this is on top of a hutch or something like that, you'll be able to see the bottom from certain angles. So you want to make sure that that is stained as well. I'm wondering if I shouldn't give these a little hit of hot glue, just a little hit of hot glue there, so that they don't move around anymore, because they seem to be sliding a little bit. They seem to be moving. There. And that may make sure that they don't go anywhere. This one doesn't seem to be moving, but I'm going to give it a little hit anyway. And that should hold it. There. So, yes. Yes. And it'd be nice if you could turn this over and just let the weight of the tray hold those legs in place, but you can't, because the E6000 will drip down if you do that, and you don't want that happening. So I'll be right back. when this is dry and I'm ready for the next stage. Okay, so I've let this dry for a bit, and I can touch these without them rolling off now. So I'm going to turn this over because the legs aren't going anywhere. Now I've already taken my straight bar, and I've done the crisscross and found a center. I got glue stuck to me. Found a center spot right here. I also did the same thing and found a center spot right here. And the last thing before I left this to dry, I took what was left on my wet wipes after wiping down the stain, and I rubbed it onto the rolling pin just to darken it down a little wee bit, and the handle a little wee bit. So this way, I believe, is how it's going to go. So what I'm going to do, I'm putting this together with E6000 and hot glue, like the legs, because I don't want this to come apart again. So, and I'm going to have a wet wipe ready in case any of it squeezes out so that I can wipe it off right away. And I'm going to take my hot glue. Is it ready? Yeah. I think I need another glue stick. And I am going to put just a little bit of hot glue around this, like that. And I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to look right down through that center hole. It's a rolling pin, so it's going together like that. And I'm going to do this so that that seals nicely all around the edge. But I don't want a whole bunch of extra. I don't want a whole bunch of extra there. Now, I didn't put any top coat on this before I glued it because the top coat would interfere with the glue holding it. So I am going to give this, once it's done, I'm going to give this whole thing a really good coat of paste wax, just like you do for unfinished wood furniture. Put my hot glue on last. I'm going to put some glue on here. So I'm going to go, what I'm going to do is go halfway around with this, like this. I cat took my chair as soon as I stood up to do this. I can hear a purr in here beside me. And I'm going to put myself some hot glue here and some hot glue here. Gotta move, kitty, kitty. And then I'm going to sit down so that I can look underneath this. And I can line that hole up. So that hole is going to be nicely laid right over top of this. Just like that. But that's how it's going to look. And I am going to love, I'm going to love this. I'm going to love the way that I can put maybe a plant on here and it can spill over. Yeah, this is just I'm going to love this. Very farmhouse, very rustic. And if you were to go buy a piece like this in the store, it'd be very expensive. And I made this for, let me see, $3.50 and $2.50 is $6, right? And a couple packages of those sticks, garden stakes. So that is another $3, that's $9. And I paid $1 for the rolling pin at the thrift store. I'm not even going to count the beads because I used 5 beads and I had about 50 of them when I got them for just a couple dollars. So yeah, some paints that I already had. So I'm going to count it in at 10 bucks. And I know I'd pay a lot more for a nice wooden tiered tray like this. So to do the handle on the top, I'm going to do something very, very similar to how I put these together. I'm going to add a dab of hot glue and a little bit of E6000. And I'm going to put this handle on. And a little bit around here so it'll catch. I'll grab my hot glue and add a tad of hot glue there, add a tad of hot glue there, and then I'm just going to put this piece right on like this, there. So I think that that's not moving now. And I have to find the middle of this, which I didn't do. So remember how I did that. Like that. So there's my middle right there. And I'm going to put a little hot glue on here. And a little bit of E6000. Not very much. And I'm going to stick this down right on there. And turn it the way I want it. I want it to be facing straight on like that. And I just want to make sure that it looks good all the way around to me. I wanted it to be centered, completely centered, because I could use this in the middle of my table, or I can put it up against a wall, or I can set it in a corner. Yeah, so, and I wanted everything to look really centered. And I think that just about does it. It's looking good, so I'm really liking it. So I'm going to touch up that little bit of paint right there, and I'm going to set this aside to dry. I am going to give it about 72 hours for everything to set up. Then I'll dress it up and I'll put some pictures and I'll add them to the end. And you guys get to see how this turned out. So, and I'm just going to add some paste finishing wax to this. And that should darken this up just a teeny tiny bit. It'll protect this without giving it a high gloss shine. It'll be a matte shine. I love how farmhouse this is. And it's just going to be fun to set everything up on it and display everything. So thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget thumbs up and subscribe now if you haven't already done that. And I'll see you all in the next video. Stay safe. Bye-bye. Love you guys.